Hey guys, I am back for some more games. This is Sidewinder for Community Starcraft 2. I guess it's Community SC2 if you look at it and write it down. But today's match is a best of 3 from MLG Raleigh. And these replays are just now trickling down through the distribution channels. And this particular set of games is going to be a best of 3 between Liquid TLO, who is the Red Terran. He's spawning on the right side of the Shattered Temple, versus Startale'Trickster, and he is at the top side of the same map. I don't think they could play on different maps, but this was interesting. I don't think that this game was actually broadcasted on the MLG Raleigh, so of course this game is a little old, but these two players are some of the most creative players for their respective races, really by a wide margin. I mean, I guess you could argue somebody like Sage, but Trickster always does something new. He definitely lives up to his name. He is sending out a scout here to see what's going on, but both these guys do some really goofy stuff. I hope to see some really cool games out of this best of 3, and I will cast all 3 if it winds up going to a third game. So let me pull up the production tab and see what's going on here. So pretty standard stuff out of both these players. TLO just grabbing his gas. Trickster's gas just a little bit behind. I don't know what he is doing here. Okay, now he takes the gas on 15. So a little later than usual. Typically you'll grab it on like 13 or 14, just one supply after your gateway. And I think he started his gateway at 12, so a little later than normal. Here comes Trickster scouting around, TLO running an SCV around to try and chase that probe off from bugging this SCV, which does have a little bit of damage on him. But TLO is going to go ahead and start a Marine, start his orbital command. He is mining gas, so everything looking fairly normal here. Trickster putting a second pylon over here to, it looks like he kind of wants to hide some tech, or at least spread stuff out so that TLO can't see everything if he were to scan once. But yeah, Trickster dropping a cybernetics core here, and I'm waiting to see what TLO is going to do, but the probe is still in TLO's base, so he can't really afford to drop his next set of tech, considering the probe will obviously see it. So Trickster's just trying his best to run as far away from that Marine as possible and still get out of the base, but this second Marine should kill it. And, oh, yep, just barely gets him with that last shot. It's going to be a factory going down after this first barracks. Trickster should start his warp gate here any second as soon as he realizes it. Yep, there he goes. And a Stalker is now on the way. It looks like he did skip a Zealot in favor of this second gas, so he's going 2 gas right now. There's another pylon here that actually reaches the low ground in case he wanted to warp in down there. TLO spreading his Marines out the top of his ramp. Definitely wants to deny any sort of scouting and make sure that that factory is not seen. TLO is scouting around for proxy pylons, I can only suspect, but has some really weird behavior on this SCV. It almost looks like he's dodging the watchtower, not knowing if Trickster actually has it, so he might proxy something weird, or, I mean, I don't know. There's so many different possibilities as far as what TLO can do, but this SCV might get caught by the Stalker. Oh! I think that the SCV just barely got by, so lucky him, at least for the time being. He's going to come up here. He's going to see these 2 extra gates coming down. He's going to know everything that's going on. So Trickster looks like he's just going for a 3-gate expansion, or not. It looks like a Twilight Council is following this up pretty quickly. So yeah, here's Trickster getting interesting. TLO now bringing out a Hellion. There's a second Hellion on the way, and his starport is now done. He's going to put up a medevac. So yeah, interesting stuff here coming down already. Probe coming down to the middle of the map. Trickster now starting a robotics facility as well. Probably just for observation, since he doesn't really know what TLO is doing, and timing it out in the case that TLO is going for a Cloak Banshee. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm trying to think of where these guys' builds are going, but the Marines are definitely going to be loaded in the medevac, as you can see them position themselves near it. He picks them all up, and there's actually one SCV in here too. The Hellions are heading toward the front door to try and do a little bit of damage. TLO is going to drop his 7 Marines and 1 SCV in a spot where Trickster can barely see them just dropping out of there. A bunker now starts for TLO. Trickster is going to have to pull some more stuff to try and get rid of this. There's a lot of Marines there. Trickster, there's actually a second bunker starting, and I can't tell where that is. Okay, the top of TLO's ramp. A lot of damage being done on these Stalkers right now. The Hellions just walk right by. and they should be able to roast up a lot of probes here. Trickster kind of bunches them up a little bit. Trickster's doing a nice job of holding these Hellions off the best he possibly can, but this bunker's about to finish. So Blink is coming down here for Trickster, trying to get that out as soon as possible. But the bunker's now done. A second bunker right up here next to Trickster's Nexus. So he's in a lot of trouble here, but he should be fine as far as holding it off. You can actually break bunkers with Marines only in it pretty easily with Stalkers. So it'll just be up to pretty simple micro. Blink is also done, so micro's even easier. You should see him blink back. Just nope, I guess not. I guess he doesn't want to use his blink. Okay, there he finally goes. So the Marines actually get out and get loaded up in the medevac. So in terms of units lost, dead even between the two. But in terms of income, Trickster's behind by about 6 workers right now. So that was a weird attack. TLO always coming up with new stuff, and Trickster also coming up with some weird stuff. Here's an observer coming out right now for Trickster just to see what's actually in TLO's base. There's a second barracks down, another bunker in a really strange spot. He's actually just planning on setting this up just in case the Stalkers blink up here. So that's really smart positioning. Trickster just getting a little bit of damage. He actually kills the bunker and TLO does not cancel it. Look at all these SCVs coming off the line. TLO should have enough stuff if he can engage in the right spot. So this is getting quite strange. TLO does not want Trickster to blink up here, and he has a lot of stuff here essentially encouraging him not to. He does kill the observer. Yeah, there he goes. So the Trickster does not have vision up here anymore. So just very smart to wait for that energy on the scan. He should be starting some Marauders here, but he is supply blocked, so he needs to get rid of that. Here comes a Hellion drop, and Trickster needs to recover over there as soon as possible. So yeah, he will recover in time. A second Observer is on the way, so he can spot up there and try to blink into the main. But now that there are Marauders here, in addition to those Hellions and Marines, TLO should be okay. So I don't think this is going to do too much damage. Who dares to expand here is the real question. Both of them not daring to do that at all. Concussive shells are coming down. I think Marine shields just finished. Let me check. Nope, they're not holding shields, so no real upgrades have been done. It must have been stim in there the whole time. Observers checking around here, seeing what's going on in TLO's base. TLO notices it. As you can see him positioning his units to try and take that out, but he's not going to be able to kill it in one scan, I don't think, unless he just gets the perfect positioning on the scan and perfect positioning on the Viking. And yes, he actually will get it, so down it goes. So Trickster looks like he wants to take a hidden expansion here across the map, which is really smart, but instead he's walking his probe away. Forge now coming down, and yeah, I mean, I was expecting this game to be goofy, but this is another level of goofy. Like, this is not a standard TVP at all. Probe, or rather, excuse me, an observer is still sitting over here so that Trickster can spot up the ledge in case TLO leaves his base. Just to control this ramp right here. TLO should be able to see that observer, but I guess he does not notice it, probably not looking at the area. This is a pretty decent push out here. Look at Trickster dropping pylons all over the place. Stalkers blink into the main. They're going to be taking out these barracks pretty easily. TLO is not coming back, so it looks like he just wants to base trade right now. Nice force field. Look at that Hellion actually stuck inside the force field. That's goofy. But elevatoring his Hellions now into the main. He should be able to kill these sentries pretty easily and elevator the rest of his units. Stalkers come over here, and they're ready to continue the fight. They blink right on top of these Marauders. Really nice play as the ramp is still force fielded. So TLO losing a lot of stuff for free. TLO pushes up the ramp. The Stalkers have to retreat because of the stim Marauders and medevacs there. TLO actually has a lot of stuff here. He may just wind up killing Trickster with this push. More presence here. The Zealot goes down for free. Stalkers are taking damage pretty heavily, and Trickster's not using his Blink Micro at all. He has to pull probes in order to try to hold this off. Here comes the Blink Micro now. Probes just not doing enough damage, and they're not in a very good position right now, but these Stalkers may actually end this push once and for all, just barely. So yeah, weird game here so far. He does get the medevac, but it wasn't the one with the last Marauder in it. So TLO is 1 Marauder and 2 medevacs to show for that attack. Trickster has a few Stalkers, but more importantly, he lost a lot of probes. 37 to 15, and geez, TLO, you can stop making workers now. A little oversaturated here at his main. You can see all these SCVs just walking back and forth. Can't really find enough work to do. Another observer is going to die here as this Viking does take it out with the scan, so that Trickster cannot blink back up into the main. But still, TLO has a really healthy army. Checking the production tab, here's a Dark Shrine coming down for Trickster. As you can see it back here in the corner. It does take about 1,000,000 years to warp in, so it'll be a while before we see those on the field, and TLO should have another command center, or rather orbital command, ready for scans. So he needs to be sure that he saves that energy correctly, and there's actually one missing mineral patch here, so that's why these SCVs are stacking so badly. Trickster is not quite as mined out as TLO. He can go for a little while without needing another Nexus, but at this point he's having to spend a lot of money to remake those probes. We check a look at the units lost tab. It shows Trickster's well behind. Hellion just comes up here to scout, and it is, well, it might kill that one probe. No, okay, it looks like it's just going to be stopped by the Stalkers. Down it goes, and the pieces fly off the ledge there. Trickster, again, has some weird pylon placements here. It's probably just a spot for drops, but TLO's not that indirect. Here's a Raven coming out right now for TLO, pulling a lot of SCVs to transfer down to the natural as soon as this orbital command lands. If he drops a couple of mules here, or at least all the mules, and these Dark Templar are able to warp in and do some damage, that will be quite messy. As we check a look at the units tab, there is one Dark Templar on the field. Another one is warping in here on the high ground for TLO. Here's the first Dark Templar that we see running toward the natural right now. TLO has one scan between his two command centers, so he's going to lose a few probes here, but the Raven is almost on the field, so he should be okay and not have to use any scans at all. The other Dark Templar should be down here in the natural, wrecking up some more SCVs. So you can see him trying to chase them down. The SCVs have rocket boosters on their back, so they can run away a little easier. Trickster's desperately trying to get that Dark Templar out of there, and if he could turn that into a Archon, if another Dark Templar is warped in, that would be really helpful. Trickster not putting out Immortals, which I really like, considering this is all Marauders and a Raven, and one Viking, of course. So even more weird unit compositions coming out of TLO right now. He is ahead by about 21 supply, so this should make for a fairly favorable situation right now, but this Immortal is going to do a ton of work. So TLO approaching the ramp, as we can see. Trickster still on one base, mind you, is just positioning his units, hoping that TLO walks up here so he can split up the forces with the force field. Zealots are trying to go to the front, but they're pushing all the Stalkers out of the way in the meantime. There's another Dark Templar in the main, and there's another Raven out, so this Raven should kill that Dark Templar before it gets one of these Marauders. You can see him trying to micro against that, and yeah, down it goes. So Trickster just falling further and further behind. TLO's now stacking all of his workers on just one field once again. You can see Trickster trying to get a good position here that he can engage these Marauders. And these Marauders are in a perfect spot, because if Zealots walk down here, they're not going to do anything the whole time. There's not a ton of surface area to get with these Stalkers and Immortals right now. Yeah, so TLO is just slowly kind of bleeding Trickster out here. We can see a small warp-in of Stalkers here on the high ground, trying to target down the tech labs. This one Stalker is being shot by the Marauder. He needs to blink out of there before it dies. No, okay, he just doesn't save that. And TLO actually sandwiches those units, and he's going to kill all these Stalkers. No problem. No, wait, nope, one actually gets away. So, yeah, I guess I should wait to see what actually happens here, because what I expect to happen is not what these players do. So let's take a look at the income tab. TLO's again at 36 workers. He has spread his SCVs back out just a little bit so he can get better mining. Trickster's trying to pressure out here a little bit, but TLO has a lot of stuff. Trickster does have 3 Immortals on the field, and they should do a lot of work against this. The Immortals come up to the front, decent force fields there just to hold off a couple Marauders and kill them for free, so a nice little trade there. But Trickster is now supply blocked because of losing these pylons here in the middle of the map, and he did lose a couple more here from these Marauders. So again, Trickster is just falling further and further behind. He's now down by about 50 supply. This one Marauder is very brave, but he's very dead now. He's just pieces on the floor. Yeah, there's tons of Marauders out right now for TLO, and what would actually be the best idea right now for Trickster is to continue that Immortal production, which he does have another one coming out. If he gets up to about 5 or 6 Immortals, he should be able to rip through TLO's army pretty fast, but TLO's wising up, getting a few more Marines mixed in there as well, so he has a really nice balanced unit composition. But what's funny is that Trickster's Nexus isn't even done, and it's now 21 minutes into the game, so I was expecting awkward, but I guess I didn't even know the level of awkwardness we were going to get. Probes are now trying to transfer. TLO senses blood. He's going to drop down a whole bunch of auto turrets here so that the Zealots can't effectively engage. The nice force fields there kind of using his auto turrets against them. Trickster is focusing down Marauders quite well with his immortals, but one immortal does get caught by all these Marines in this SCV. It's actually targeting Marines, unfortunately. Trickster's just getting stuck in a corner. TLO stims back up and can take these immortals out quite easily. He drops the mules on the high ground, saying, hey buddy, I'm more goofy than you. I win, you lose. So please get out. And Trickster says GG. Yeah, so basically, if you want to watch weird games, watch TLO or watch Trickster. If you want to see double weird games, watch when they play against each other. And TLO is dropping a command center in Trickster's base. That's pretty funny. Yeah, so I don't know what else to say. Let's just go on to game 2 and see what that game has in store for us.